This segment is sponsored by TJ Homes. If you bought or sold or even thought about buying or selling a home in 2021, you know it was a crazy year for the real estate market. So what will 2022 bring? Less chaos or maybe more? Well, Tammy Jo Budzinski from TJ Homes keeps her fingers on the pulse of the local real estate market, and she is here now with some predictions. Hi, Tammy Jo.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm glad to. For folks who maybe haven't been paying attention, let's review the chaos that was 2021 as far as the real estate market.
Well, we had a little bit of madness in 2021, and in my 20 years of experience, it's probably the fast-paced business market that I have ever seen.
So it was kind of a factor of three things, right?
Yes,
Inventory.
inventory shortage, interest rates, and pandemic. So you have kind of a few different layers added to this that created just a chaotic environment for a lot of people.
Well,
Mhm.
let's look ahead to 2022 at those three factors that you mentioned: inventory, home values,
Yes.
mortgage rates. And what do you see for folks?
So here's what we're forecasting, what the economists are saying, is that we normally in a balanced market have 4 months of inventory. At our worst, and we have maybe a half of a month. So you can imagine the chaos of multiple buyers trying to find homes. And so what that resulted in is sellers getting top dollar, even beyond top dollar for what the home was listed for, and buyers scrambling to just get an offer accepted. So we saw buyers going into cash. We saw buyers doing appraisal gap coverage. And if you haven't heard of that, it means that if the appraisal comes in lower than the actual purchase price of the home, the buyer makes up the difference. So some interesting tactics to apply to a market just to secure a home. Now in 2022, we're anticipating still an increase in regards to values, not as crazy as what we saw in 2021, but with more sellers coming on the market, that also means we have more inventory increasing, which allows the buyers hopefully to relax a little bit from the chaotic spin that we had in 21.
More selection for them and perhaps more reasonable prices. What about interest rates? Mortgage interest rates were really good in 21, right?
Yes, so we are going to see and anticipate an increase in those. We ended up off the year around 3%, 3.2% is pretty average, which are incredibly low. Then we're looking at going to the mid fours or low fours by the end of this year. So that will be another spike for those buyers to secure their rate on their loan. Because just a small increase of 1% in your interest rate can change what your buying power is. And if you weren't finding what you wanted in your current price bracket, it's going to be even harder if your price bracket reduces due to interest rates.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. So how does each individual buyer or seller make the most of the scenario that you've laid out for us? I imagine that you sit down with each one individually because the decisions are different for different people.
That's 100% accurate. So we allow our clients to choose either Zoom or in person, depending on what they're comfortable with. And it's a case by case situation because not everybody has the same ideas, the same concepts. And so we sit down and we go through with them, what are your goals? What would you like to achieve? If I could snap my fingers like this, where would you want to be? And then from that position, we then navigate a whole direction and a strategy to allow them that to happen for them. Without the stress, without the chaos, or even finding a home first before we sell. And if you don't know your options, how can you make decisions?
Well, I know too that during crazy times, you are insistent that an expert with experience is the way to go. And of course, Tammy Jo provides all of that and more, folks. You can read more about the 2022 real estate market on Tammy Jo's blog. You can find it at tjhomes.com. So good to see you, Tammy Jo. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.